The big challenge we all face is how to become all that we can be. Now, some people might say, well, I'm fine just the way I am. But here's what I've learned. You can have more because you can become more. And unless you change how you are, you will always have what you've got. It's not about settling for less when you're capable of so much more. You know how good it feels to maximize your potential and stretch yourself to the limit, don't you? That's the feeling we're after, the feeling of growth, the feeling of progress. So today, I want to share with you 4 powerful words that can make living worthwhile. These words are simple, but their impact is profound. They can turn your life around if you let them. Here we go. 1. Life is worthwhile if you learn. Learning is the foundation of everything. It's the first step on the journey toward growth, success, and fulfillment. Without learning, you can't grow. Without learning, you can't progress. Learning is not just a tool for success, it's a necessity for life itself. Without it, we remain stagnant, unable to move forward or expand our potential. Think about this. You don't just need learning to succeed, you need learning to exist. It's that fundamental. Here's something to consider. What you don't know will hurt you. We've all heard the saying, ignorance is bliss, but let me tell you, ignorance is costly. It costs you time, it costs you money, and it costs you opportunity. You see, ignorance isn't bliss, it's an obstacle. The things you don't know can hold you back, prevent you from achieving your goals, and cause you to miss out on chances that could change your life. So the question becomes, what are you willing to learn to avoid those costs? Now, the good news is that learning is something we can all do. It doesn't matter where you start or what you know right now. What matters is your willingness to grow. So what do we need to do? We need to learn from our own experiences. Whether they're positive or negative, every experience holds a lesson. You ever notice how sometimes the most valuable lessons come from mistakes? That's what I like to call a positive negative. You do it wrong, you figure it out, and then you do it right. That's the beauty of learning from your own mistakes. It's the process of refining yourself, turning failures into stepping stones for success. But don't stop there. Learn from other people's experiences too. You see, you don't have to make every mistake yourself. Life is too short to learn everything the hard way. You can avoid a lot of pain and struggle by learning what not to do from others. Look at the people around you. Their successes, their failures, their stories. Each one of them has something valuable to teach. Some people have already walked the path you're on, and they've stumbled and fallen along the way. If you pay attention, you can learn from their mistakes and avoid making the same ones yourself. Now, wouldn't it be something if failures gave seminars? Think about it. Wouldn't it be valuable to sit down and hear from someone who had it all and lost it? Someone who made the wrong moves, made the wrong decisions, and faced the consequences? That's information we need. Successful people give seminars all the time, but imagine the lessons we'd get from those who lost everything. That's real-life education, learning without the pain of having to go through it yourself. Unfortunately, they don't tour around giving seminars, but we can still learn from their stories if we're willing to listen. So how do we learn? We learn by what we see, by what we hear, and by what we read. Pay attention. Keep your eyes open. There are lessons all around you if you're willing to look for them. Be a good listener. But here's the key. Be a selective listener. Don't just let anybody dump garbage into your mental factory. Choose carefully who you listen to. Some people will try to fill your mind with negativity, doubt, and fear. Others will fill it with hope, wisdom, and encouragement. Be selective. Guard your mind. And then there's reading. Never underestimate the power of a good book. Open a book, or 2, or 3. Reading opens doors to new worlds, new ideas, new possibilities. When you read, you're not just learning facts and figures, you're expanding your mind, broadening your horizons, and discovering new ways to think and live. The right book can change your life in ways you never expected. Learning is the beginning of everything. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Without the knowledge of how to create, manage, and grow wealth, you'll always struggle financially. Learning is the beginning of health. Understanding how to take care of your body, mind, and spirit is essential for living a long and vibrant life. Learning is the beginning of spirituality. The search for knowledge, for understanding, for deeper meaning in life. This is where the miracle process begins. Here's what happens when you commit to learning. You start to see the world differently. You begin to realize that every challenge, every setback, every failure is an opportunity to learn something new. Instead of avoiding mistakes, you start seeking out lessons. Instead of fearing the unknown, you start embracing it. And once you start learning, you'll find that you want to keep going. You want to keep growing. Life becomes an adventure, an exciting journey filled with discovery and growth. So, make learning a priority. Learn from your own experiences. Learn from the experiences of others. Learn from what you see, what you hear, what you read. Because life is worthwhile if you learn. And the more you learn, the more valuable your life becomes. Not just for you, but for everyone around you. 2. Life is worthwhile if you try. Learning is powerful. It is the foundation upon which all growth is built. But learning by itself is not enough. Knowledge without action leads to stagnation. You see, you can fill your mind with all the wisdom in the world, but if you don't apply it, it remains potential energy, unused and untapped. And this brings us to the second powerful word, try. Life is worthwhile if you try. It's in the trying that learning comes alive. It's in the effort, the action, the movement where transformation takes place. What does it mean to try? It means putting what you've learned into action. It means taking steps, small or big, to make progress, to create change, to make an impact. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get everything right on the first attempt. But you do have to take action. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, to give it your best shot, and to see what happens. Because that's what trying is all about. It's about giving yourself a chance. But here's the problem. Too many people hesitate to try because they're afraid of failure. They're afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of what others might think. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. Failure is a part of success. You can't avoid it, and more importantly, you shouldn't avoid it. You see, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the journey toward it. Every time you fail, you're one step closer to getting it right. The key is not to let failure stop you from trying again. You might not succeed on the first try, or the second, or even the 10th. But here's the thing. You've got to keep trying. How long should you try? Until. That's the answer. Keep trying until you succeed. Keep trying until you find the breakthrough. Keep trying until you get the result you're after. Because you never know how close you are to success until you keep going. It might be just one more try away. Now, I know it's easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned, when you've tried and it feels like you're not making progress. But let me tell you something. Every try counts. Every effort builds momentum. Even if you don't see the results right away, you're growing. You're learning. You're becoming stronger. Each time you try, you're building your resilience. You're developing your character. You're learning what works and what doesn't. And that's what makes life worthwhile. The effort, the progress, the growth. So why not go all out? Why not give it everything you've got? Why not try your best every time? Because here's the truth. You can do more than you think you can. There's potential inside you that you haven't even tapped into yet. But you'll never discover it if you don't try. You'll never know what you're capable of until you step out of your comfort zone and give it a shot. Maybe you're thinking, well, I'm not sure if I can succeed. Let me ask you this. How will you ever know if you don't try? The greatest regret is not failure. It's the regret of never having tried at all. Trying is about taking that first step, even when you're unsure of the outcome. It's about believing in yourself enough to say, I'm going to give it a shot. And here's what happens when you try. You surprise yourself. You find that you can do more than you ever imagined. Trying is not just about personal success either. It's about making a difference. Try to make a difference in someone else's life. Try to leave things better than you found them. Whether it's through a kind word, a helping hand, or a new idea, try to be a positive force in the world. When you try to make the world a little better, even in small ways, you create a ripple effect. Your actions inspire others to try, and together, we create meaningful change. So here's the challenge. Try something new. Try to learn a new skill, pick up a new sport, or explore a new way of thinking. Try to make a difference in your own life or in someone else's. Try to become more than you were yesterday. It's not about doing everything, but it's about doing something. Each small effort adds up over time, and before you know it, you've made more progress than you ever thought possible. Life is worthwhile if you try, if you're willing to put in the effort, to step into the unknown, and to keep going even when it's hard. Because in the trying, you build strength, you build character, and you build a life of meaning and purpose. So don't hold back, don't wait for the perfect moment. Start trying today and watch how your life begins to change. 3. Life is worthwhile if you stay. Now, once you've started something, once you've made the decision to try, the next challenge is this. You've got to stay the course. That's the third powerful word, stay. Life is truly worthwhile if you stay. It's easy to begin something. Starting is simple. Anyone can start, but it takes a special kind of resolve to finish. And that's where the magic happens. In the finish. It's the staying power that separates those who merely start from those who succeed. Think about this for a moment. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds in the spring but leaves in the summer. The crop isn't ready yet. It hasn't grown, it hasn't matured, but he's gone. He doesn't stay until harvest. You see, it's not enough to just plant the seeds. You have to nurture them. You have to tend to them, water them, weed around them, and stay until they grow into a bountiful harvest. That's the secret. You've got to stay from spring until harvest. You've got to see things through, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's difficult. If you've signed up for the project, for the job, or for the task, the key is to stay until the end. Don't leave halfway. Don't walk away just because the going gets tough. In fact, the tough times are exactly when you need to stay the most. Anyone can leave when things are easy, but those who succeed, the ones who build lasting legacies, are the ones who stay through the challenges, through the setbacks, through the storms. Now, let's be honest. There will be times when things don't go according to plan. That's life. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes it throws obstacles in your way, things you never expected or prepared for. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges. There will even be failures. But here's the thing. Don't quit in the middle. If you're going to quit, quit at the end. If you've given it your all, if you've stayed the course and it still doesn't work out, fine. But finish it. Complete the job. See it through to the end and then move on. Staying through the difficulties builds something far more valuable than just success. It builds trust. People trust those who stick around when things get hard. They trust those who don't abandon ship when the waters get rough. Staying builds your reputation as someone who can be counted on, someone reliable, someone who finishes what they start. That kind of trust is priceless, but that's not all. Staying also builds something inside of you. Discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And it's forged in the moments when you stay, when you refuse to give up. Every time you stay the course, every time you see something through to completion, you're training yourself to be more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. And that's something no one can take away from you. And let's not forget character. Character is who you are when no one is watching. It's what you do when you have the choice to leave or stay. Do you abandon your commitments when they become inconvenient, or do you stick it out? Staying builds character because it forces you to confront your own limitations, your own doubts, and push through them. It teaches you that real growth happens in the perseverance, not in the comfort. Here's another crucial point. You don't have to stay forever. I'm not saying you should commit to everything or everyone indefinitely. Sometimes life moves on, projects come to an end, and it's time for you to move on too. But the key is to finish what you've started. If you've committed to something, give it your all and stay until it's done. That's how you build credibility with yourself and with others. And when you stay until the end, you don't just leave with the accomplishment. You leave with something far more valuable, the experience, the lessons, and the growth. You see, the journey itself, the process of staying, is where the real value lies. The growth that comes from staying through the challenges is what equips you for even greater challenges ahead. So make it a habit to stay. When you say you're going to do something, do it. When you commit to a project, See it through to the end. When you face difficulties, stay. Because in staying, you'll discover a depth of character, a strength of will, and a sense of accomplishment that you simply can't find by quitting in the middle. Life is worthwhile if you stay the course, stay committed, and stay true to your word. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about how you started, it's about how you finished. 4. Life is worthwhile if you care. The final word, perhaps the most important of all, is care. If you want to make life truly worthwhile, you must care deeply. Caring is the driving force behind every meaningful action you take. Life is worthwhile if you care. If you care even just a little, you'll see results. But if you care enough, if you invest yourself fully, you can achieve extraordinary results. Caring is the heart of commitment. It's what gives your efforts energy, and it's what drives you to go beyond the minimum and aim for excellence. Caring transforms ordinary tasks into something remarkable, because when you care about what you're doing, you bring passion, attention to detail, and a sense of purpose to everything. Now here's the key. You've got to care enough. It's not enough to go through the motions. It's not enough to say, well, I guess I'll do it because I have to. No, you've got to care enough to make a difference. Care enough to do things right, even when no one's watching. Care enough to give it your best effort every time. Why? Because when you care, people notice. You see, caring sets you apart. It shows in your work, in your relationships, in the way you show up. If you care about something deeply enough, it becomes evident in every part of your life. You become someone others can trust, someone they can count on, someone who leads by example. But there's more. When you care, you're not just doing things for yourself, you're doing them for others. Caring expands your vision beyond your own life and pushes you to make an impact. You care enough to turn someone else's life around. You care enough to start something new and build something that lasts. You care enough to make a difference in your community, in your family, in your workplace. Caring is the seed from which all great endeavors grow. Think about it. Every significant change in the world, whether it's in business, science, or society, started because someone cared enough to take action. Someone cared enough to say, I won't stand by and do nothing. They cared enough to sacrifice time, energy, and effort because the cause or the mission was important to them. And when you care, you begin to tap into a deeper strength. The more you care, the stronger you can be. Why? Because caring gives you purpose. It gives you a reason to keep going when things get tough. It's easy to give up when you don't care, but when you care deeply, you find the strength to keep pushing forward. You find the energy to keep working, to keep trying, to keep improving. You see, caring adds fuel to the fire of determination. When you care, you wake up every day with a sense of direction, knowing that what you're doing matters. You're not just going through the motions, you're contributing to something bigger than yourself. And that's what makes life truly meaningful. So care enough to show up. Care enough to be present. Care enough to engage fully in everything you do. If you're in a meeting, be in that meeting. Don't let your mind drift. If you're working on a project, give it your full attention. Don't just rush through it. If you're with your family, be there with them. Listen, connect, share moments. And here's the most beautiful part. The more you care, the more you grow. Caring stretches your capacity for empathy, compassion, and love. It builds character. It makes you stronger, more resilient, more determined. It shapes you into someone who leaves a legacy. Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, what will people remember you for? They'll remember how much you cared. They'll remember the impact you had because you cared enough to make a difference. So if you want to live a life that's not just successful, but meaningful, care. Care deeply. Care passionately. Care enough to make the world around you a better place. In closing, let's remember this. Life is not a race, but a journey. It's not about getting everything right the first time. It's about stretching ourselves, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so that we can grow into the people we were meant to be. The journey is made worthwhile by these 4 words: learn, try, stay, care. Each of them represents a key that unlocks a different door to fulfillment. When you commit to learning, you open the door to endless possibilities. When you try, you discover strength you never knew you had. When you stay, you experience the power of perseverance. And when you care, you bring meaning and purpose to everything you do. So I encourage you, take these words and make them a part of your daily life. Let them guide your decisions, your actions, and your relationships. Because at the end of the day, life is not just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. Go out and live a life that's not just successful, but worthwhile. A life of learning, trying, staying, and caring. And when you do, you'll find that the rewards are greater than you ever imagined. Thank you, and may your journey be filled with growth, fulfillment, and a life truly worth living.